Welcome to some atmosphere here. Let me just double check everything's in right order here. Yes, okay, cool. Here we go. So, fair enough. So for those who are not familiar, this particular story is based off of Mirror of Fate, the Castlevania game I played very recently. This particular segment takes place immediately before you begin the final act of the game, which is Trevor's segment. So during Trevor's segment, he heads off to Dracula's castle, Trevor Belmont, to be specific. He heads off to Dracula's castle to fight Dracula because he's been told of the truth. The truth being, well, let's let the story and this segment speak for itself, shall we? Oh, sounds great. I'm all snug in an oodie because it's cold here. Alrighty. The heavy door to the stronghold slid against the stone floors, long candlelit shadows flowing out into the corridor. It had only been 3 weeks since he had returned from his previous mission, fighting to stop yet another uprising of night creatures. It felt as though their strength grew with each and every passing day, so a redeployment wasn't exactly unexpected. However, I was really hoping to stay a little longer this time, he murmured ruefully, before a sinking feeling started in him, eyes gazing across the room. This was not the usual entourage. Brother Reuben, the quartermaster, was indeed here, but so was Father Felipe and Father Kelleon, two he had rather rarely seen. They were much further up the chain of command and had better places to be than attending a routine briefing. Sit, Trevor. Shut the door. Wrong group. I'm doing my best. Okay. Nope. That's not in order either. Okay. Which meant that this was not a routine briefing. Trevor shut the door behind him, ignoring the small simmer of nerves in his stomach. Why he felt more nervous here than he did charging into an entourage of undead was beyond him, but the atmosphere was stifling. As you know, there has been a marked increase in the Night Horde attacks these past few months, Brother Reuben began. Naturally, we have been investigating in the same breath, attempting to find a source. Their coordination is unprecedented, after all. Trevor nodded. The fathers' faces were especially grave, eyes bright and unmoving upon him. It is a monster whom we believed had been lost to this world. A new lord of the vampire's castle. Dracula. Father Kelleon sighed. A little less than 30 years ago, a man moved to conquer the dark powers of the land, a man who once called himself a knight of our order. So great was his lust for blood and power, he took the life of his own wife. Trevor, it is unfortunate that it has come to this. We had hoped it would be something we could take to our graves, and it would quietly die, as all things eventually should. Father Felipe shook his head. The longer we tarry, the stronger the Dracula's forces grow. Trevor, you must be our holy sword against him. It can only be you, for you are of his blood. Trevor jumped from his chair, kicking it backward, but found he had no words to say, at least at first. His fighting instinct was engaging, but there was nothing here to combat. Just words, just... You can't mean he... Dracula is Gabriel Belmont? My... Bile churned in the back of his throat, his stomach twisting. Comparisons had followed him from the moment he had begun training at the Brotherhood. In fact, even before that, from the eldest of them, the scholars, who had known a young Gabriel too. It had been a mark of pride. That Belmont blood possessed the talent and drive to defend the weak, fight the forces of the night, and be a shining beacon in the darkness. Hang on, I forgot to set my game. There we go. Cool. Young Trevor had dreamed that perhaps Gabriel would stagger back into the Brotherhood someday, full of stories of heroism and taking him on adventures too. Had he lived up to his father's legacy? His father's bloodline? A question that had once plagued him, but now that blood was now shame, a sin even. So many had died at Dracula's hands, and Trevor collapsed back onto the chair. His wife? My mother? Yes, we had feared something may come to pass, which is why we took you in secret. Marie had full knowledge of this, but still believed in Gabriel's good heart. She paid with her life. Murdered in cold blood, his own wife. Cypher's face came to his mind, her boundless spirit, her gentle smiles. There was no world he could even fathom harming her. The depravity that had befallen Gabriel Belmont was as deep and dark as it came. How had he fallen so far? Something dark and angry had stirred within Trevor. A simmering flame stoked by burning boyish dreams and made hot by a harsh reality. In an instant, that monster had taken everything from him, the wistful visions of his family. Gone. The anger burned, hate blossoming in him and bringing the flame into a hellish roar. Dracula had to die. I need to speak to Cypher, Trevor said, gingerly standing again, both of his fists clenched. But mark my words, I will not let his sin go unpunished. For my family's sake. For my mother's sake. We have some time to make preparations, Trevor. I understand, but I'll be leaving tonight. Brother Reuben nodded, his brow knotted. Trevor walked to the door and left, pulling it closed behind him with a heavy thud. A shame to lose him already, Father Callion said, shaking his head. It is how it must be. As it was for Gabriel, it is now for him. Ta-da! I don't know how well that came out, but I did my best. I hope it was engaging in some degree, but I feel like it's